Good evening, and thank you all for being here. See, we got a packed house tonight, surely not because of us. So we are glad we have some people here and some interesting things going on. We would like to call this Brunswick City Commit regular scheduled commission meeting for Wednesday, for 2024 to order. Can we please all stand for the invocation and allegiance? We will have our invocation, a leader in our community, a pastor in our community, the pastor of Zion, Pastor Craig. We want to thank you for all you do in our community and the lead that you provide, Pastor. Thank you. Let us bow. Gracious Father, truly we thank you for this. We thank you for this Advent season of. Father God, I ask that you look upon this city commissioners meeting tonight. Give them clarity of thought. Give them wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Father God, I thank you for their synergy of partnership for the betterment of mankind and humanity. Father God, I thank you for all that you've done, the city of Brunswick. Special blessings upon our city manager, other elected officials, lay staff, that they have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Amen. We will now move on to the approval of the agenda, adoption of the December 18th, 2024 regular scheduled meeting agenda. Are there any addendums or subtractions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have the addendum to the agenda, please.
Yes, sir.
Under city attorney items, I'd like to add number 12, consider approval of the administrative award with Georgia Department of Natural Resources Coastal Resources Division. And additionally, under city attorney's items number 13, consider approval of memorandum of understanding for the College Park drainage project.
Hearing that as a motion, here second.
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor, usual sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, same. Hearing none, motion passes and the agenda is amended. Any other additions or subtractions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do. I want to make a motion to add under item number 10A, consider approval for financial reports for period ending October 31st of 2024. And then I would also like to defer item number 10, consider approval of amendment number 20 to the City of Brunswick defined benefit pension plan until the January 15th meeting.
Here's a motion, do I hear a second? Hearing a first and all those in favor show by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, motion passes and the agenda is further amended. Any other amendments, additions, subtractions? Hearing none, we will open it for a motion to accept the agenda amended.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, hearing none, motion passes and the agenda adopted. We'll now move on to appointments for agencies, authorities, and committees. We have one appointment to the Urban Development Authority for a vacant that expired on 5/16/2024. The one name that we have submitted is a Mr. Amin, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Is Mr. Amin here today? How you doing? If you could please come to the front for it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for putting in for service to our city. If you could just tell us a little bit of the background and your desire to serve on the urban redevelopment.
Sure. Yeah. Like you said, my name is Amin. I moved to Brunswick about 4 years back. Have a background in finance. Worked in, it was a trader, structured repos for Oregon, as well as the Rockefeller family managing a $7 fund. I have in Brunswick a background owning and operating 3 hotels in Brunswick, 8 single-family homes, which have been some fix and really just developing properties that were, under significant blight. And, yeah, some aligns with my goal. Really want to see Brunswick thrive and progress forward and find ways to, redevelop the areas that have been significantly impacted over the past 5 to 10 years or so.
We appreciate that and thank you for your investment in the city, Mr. Amin. Although this is a mayoral appointment, I'd like to open it for questions from the entirety of the commission. Commission, any questions? Hearing none, I now appoint Mr. Amin to the Urban Redevelopment Authority. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
The next appointment we have is to the Brunswick Housing Authority. We have a single vacancy being done by Commissioner Alan Booker, whose term is 60124. He is put in to ask to be reappointed to that post. We thank him for his leadership as a member not only of our county commission, a member of the city of Brunswick, as well as the great work that he has done turning that agency around and ensuring that we get focused in a smart action. So with that, I am reappointing Commissioner Alan Booker to the House Authority. With that, we will move on to 3 appointments inside of the audit committee. The audit committee will fill expired terms of Ms. Bailey, Mr. Dickerson, and Ms. Harrison. I have 3 names submitted: Ms. Harrison, Mr. Israel, and Francis R. Daniels. If any of those 3 are here, could you please stand to the front? Okay. We heard that Israel and Daniels both let us know they'd be out of town. Ms. Harrison, who has served on the board before, I don't see her here. However, this is an appointment for the entirety of the commission. So with that, I will open it to the will of the commission.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to approve the 3 candidates for the appointment to audit committee: Ms. Harrison, Mr. Israel, and Mrs. Daniels.
Hearing that as a first, then we have a second. All in favor, show by the usual sign of aye. Aye. All opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes and they are appointed to the audit committee. We will now move on to recognitions, presentations, and awards. Number 3, recognition of grant funding received from Georgia Director Booker.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As you all know, I'm Vanessa Booker. I'm the Director of the Recreation and Parks Department. And I brought this afternoon a representative from Georgia Power, and this is Ms. Joy Bond. And I'm going to let Ms. Bond tell you a little bit about the grant.
Good evening. I'm Jocelyn Vaughn. I'm a representative from the Sense of Georgia Power, which our mission is to citizen wherever we serve. So entails us being part of our community, getting together with community program and making sure we provide support within the community. One of our projects is providing to the city of Brunswick through the Recreation Department. We're going to take one of the rooms in Howard Kaufman Park Gymnasium and turn it into a computer lab that'll be functional for them to use after school, for parents to use as recess, as well as them to use during their summer program, which 3 of my daughters were a part of. I knew that this was a program that I have seen come through the year. I wanted to make sure that Georgia Power was able to provide that access to the community.
Ms. Vaughn, we want to thank you not only for Georgia Power commitment and financial contribution, so your commitment and contribution to our city. We know it takes citizens who have leadership, several different roles to ensure that businesses are on the front line of community issues. And so thank you for your leadership and work in that, and give you and Georgia Power a round of applause for all that you've done.
Thank you.
Director, thank you for your continued leadership, building the partnerships and investment in our children. Thank you
Thank
much.
you all very much.
Thank you.
One moment.
You have a question?
Which was the grant that was received?
Grant was for $10,000.
Okay.
And when do you all expect for the room to be completed?
We're in the process now of working with the rec department to see what the needs are. We're looking to complete that by February.
Oh, outstanding. Thank you.
Any more questions?
I think she wants a photo.
Photo? Oh.
Yeah, sorry, if y'all wanna like stand in front of the bench and like stand. Well, actually, you don't need to.
You got it?
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna take a few, so just keep smiling. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Don't move. And one more. Thank you.
Move on to Coastal Outreach Soccer. U19 will provide an update presentation regarding flood prevention. I got boys on the agenda, but it's clear girls. Boys are getting some credit. My bad.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are YOP leaders. My name is Danielle Roll, and I'm joined by my partners, Aaliyah Moring and Aaliyah Rogers. We are tonight to update you about our flood solutions for Coffin Park. We are learning about flood solutions and all the different sources available to determine site conditions, land surveying techniques, drones, spatial data tools, and field assessments, how to calculate the hydraulic on site by hand, and completed design software to communicate the conditions and our future designs for Kaufman. We also learn how to communicate the scientific and mathematical information to community members, our parents, and co-states managers.
Some terms you need to know before we start are watershed, which is an area of land that retains waterfall. Next, pervious area, which is an area that absorbs rainfall. Lastly, impervious area, which is an area that does not allow water to seep into the ground. Now we'll inform you about our cells, which is a cell of the part that we have divided among our group. We have cell 1. Cell 1 is located on the west side of the turf field and is classed as an impervious area. Has a total surface of 5,000 square feet. To properly cover the area of our bird retention bowl, we have a width of 7 feet, a length of 16 feet, with surface area of 176 square feet.
Now we are it to cell 2.
Thank you, Aaliyah. My name is Aaliyah. I'm joined by Imani and Chase. We are presenting cell 2.
Cell 2 refers to the area situated behind the turf field adjacent to the bleachers. This area is classified as impervious, necessitating that our bioretention bowl measures 139 feet in width and 20 feet in length. This specific length is required to adequately cover the surface area with a total of 2,919 square feet. At this junction, we would like to introduce cell 3.
Thank you, Chase. My name is Daya. These are my teammates, Athena and Tachez. We are representing Cell 3. Cell 3 is located at the easternmost side of the field.
This area is classified as pervious and has a total surface area of 27,000 square feet.
So this means our bioretention bowl will need 42 feet and 26 feet in length, and the total area is 192 square feet. Now do cell 4.
Thank you, Touches. My name is Caleb and Miss Ray. and we represent for Sulfur refers to the soccer field. This is classified as a pervious area and has an area of 84,000 square feet.
We use drones to collect data points to determine the element of turf in between the turf and soccer field, and the soccer based on our data collection will need to find a way to move the water runoff on the side of the soccer field. We will not introduce Monty for our closing remarks.
As you can see, we have conducted thorough research, sought assistance from professionals, meticulously refined our calculations, and dedicated significant effort to develop our well-considered fire retention cells. We would like to Coffin Park have the ability to adapt to resident needs, including the use of its recreational fields, facilities, and natural resources without negatively impacting Windsor Park, Dixville, and Glen Middle School. Therefore, we respectfully request that all further work around the turf and soccer field be postponed to allow us the necessary time to evaluate designs. Once again, we extend gratitude for the opportunity to present our findings. Finally, we would like to ask our partner agencies to please stand. City of Brunswick, Garrow Albertson and our leaders, UGA Marine Extension, Agency Grant, Dr. Kimberly Andrews, Stool Ecology Program, Dress Brown, Stormwater Program, Troop Surveying, Teeple Hill and Stephen Land Design Associate, Ron Slade, Landscape Architect, and our partners and COS parents. Looking forward to working alongside you and our partners to complete our designs for Coffin Park during the first quarter of 2025. Thank you to our funds, DNR, NOAA Coastal Initiative Grant, Honeywell, and many such supporters. Thank you.
There isn't much to say. I think we all know how impressive that was and how impressed you all are. We thank you for the work that you put in to ensure the continued development that we do in Howard Coffin Park brings into consideration not only our environmental impacts, but also the impact of other neighborhoods and our other citizens. And we're thankful that you all have led this effort and led this city in thinking of ways to ensure that we do that as we can do to develop Howard Coffin Park. Now, I'm sure there are some questions from Mission, and so I want to open before we close out, and you all can choose answers. Mr. Sean, Mr. Woods can answer, but I do want it to the commission for comments and questions.
How long have you been in partnership with UGA Marine Extension?
3 years plus.
Okay.
And what we're going to say is we'll answer the question. If you know it, come to that because there are people online who probably want to hear you. So get that mic for us.
I would say about 3 years plus.
Okay. That's all I have.
How often did you all collect, like every weekend, once a month? How did you come together, work as a team to get your information?
We work with the UGA, and we also did this every Wednesday.
Oh, every Wednesday. Okay. So this is the teacher in me. Did you have graph paper or you collect data points or what did you do?
We did data with cameras, and we also did, I guess you can say graphing on to get the impervious areas and the soil types and different things like that.
So have y'all gotten to the analysis part as you analyzing your data that was collected, or are you still in the process?
Still in the process.
Okay.
Again, I want to echo what the mayor said. Congratulations. You guys are obviously working really hard on this project. Appreciate your dedication to the city and our facilities and how it affect the surrounding neighborhoods. I would just ask the team, and when I say the team, all of your partners and Mr. Williams, the city is also very focused on address flooding all up and down Lanier Boulevard. And we were lucky enough to receive recent NOAA grant to acquire some property north, to the south of Glen School. So I think when you initially started your study, that wasn't necessarily in the plan. So now that we've potentially have another opportunity to do some stormwater retention there, I think it's good to keep that open to some possibilities. Again, working holistically the entire area as well. So that's my piece of advice there or thoughts. Thank you again.
When I look at you all standing before us and I read the emblem on your shirts says Yo Pro leaders, exactly what you are. You are young scientists, you're young leaders, you're young community activists. You are what embodies and you are what identifies this community as our future leaders. And want to tell you thank you. I want to also make sure that you all are inclusive of the Habersham Park area. I heard you say Dixville. I heard you say Spencer Park. But there's also Habersham Park that immediately abuts Glen Middle School. And they are directly impacted and affected by the flooding that happens in the area as well. So I want to make sure that doing this, and we may have some Habersham residents in here tonight. I'm not sure it'll be online, but we want to make sure that they understand and know that they are also included in this research and in this process as well. I want to tell Sean and all of his staff. I want to tell Jessica. I want to tell Kelly and all of the others. I call those because those are the names that I've immediately worked with and had contact with. I'm so proud of you all. Elated to hear your final analysis. Imani, awesome job summarizing things that you all have done. Each of you continue what you're doing, and we won't have to worry about be sitting up here after we're no longer able to sit here.
Exactly.
I want to say one thing before you leave. At the end, Monty, I think one of the things that you said was you would hope that all work around 4 cells be halted until you come with your full analysis, which is the stuff that we have to do. And so out of that, there will probably need to be some resolution drawn up to ensure that that ask is made real, commission action. And so what I'll get our office to do is work with you all, with leadership, and work with this commission to draw that resolution up to ensure that you all do that resolution, that it makes sense for us as a mission. We will say and know there is work going on right now at Howland Park. That's the new field, but also baseball fields will be redone. And so will be some conversation around what that looks like, but the full understanding of the 4 cells that you want us to be aware of in that conversation about stopping that work. We want to back with an actual resolution that we can pass here, that in the work. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We're going to get you to stand up one more time so you get a picture right here. Appreciate you all. We will now move on to public hearing for new alcohol beverage licenses. We have one for the Sunoco Food Mart one, but that is for informational purpose only, and then open vote fountain package. So we will deal with Sunoco Food Mart number one right now.
Was before this commission at the last commission meeting, or I think the one before, there was a vote taken. I believe the mayor was absent. Mayor Pro Tem was running the meeting. There was a question posed to legal regarding, because it essentially ended in a 2-2 vote. Vote is an effective denial. That relayed to the owner of Sunoco, and they have a to appeal under the code, which they have the right to do. And so they will be set down for an appeal hearing in January.
Questions for our legal team on Sunoco Food number one? Here, and we take that information. We are thankful for, just so I'm aware and not bypassing anything, because it is under the hearing section. Do I have to open that for a hearing?
No, I
Okay.
think it would
All right.
be
Wonderful.
taken off.
Perfect. We will now move on to fountain package. Owner is a Mr. or Mrs. Patel at the 2300 address 2300 Norwood Street. The per type retail beer and wine. Runner.
I do have a correction there, sir. It should say beer, wine, and liquor. We made a mistake in the all the advertising was done correctly.
Okay.
But the application was for off-premise consumption of beer, wine, liquor. We do have the applicants here. They did pass a background check. As part of our review, we look at distances. One of the things to point out is that under our ordinance, when we have an existing location that was lawfully able to sell within the last 12 months for the application, that the distance requirements are not part of the consideration for our application. But everything else under your purview is open for consideration as part of the application tonight. We do have the Patels here. I believe they're going to talk a little about what their plan is for this location, and then we'll be answering any questions that you have.
Real quick, Director Hunter, totally understand the distance from that piece.
Yep.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is, does that mean we, as commissioners, can't take that into consideration, or that can't be used as a reason to deny?
Both, essentially.
Okay.
Now there is still the standard discretionary measures that you can take consideration under new license. So while the distance requirements are not applicable, there are, sorry, I thought I put these up. I think there's a presentation done, but there are provisions in the minutes that you can take into consideration, such as saturation, meaning how many licensed locations are in a certain area of this particular location, and the general characteristic nature and effect on the surrounding neighborhoods.
Thank you. Mr. Mattel, please. How are you all this evening?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, good. We thank you for coming here this evening and your want to invest in the city of Brunswick. Alcohol licenses have been something we've seen a lot of here in the commission. Several basic questions that we're usually asking every person comes before us for an alcohol license. So that's what you'll hear this evening. But you all for being with us. And with that, we'll open it to questions from the commission.
Are they going to show us a presentation?
Oh, I'm sorry. If you all have a presentation.
Yeah. So we had a presentation of what we've done with the property for the 5 months and 13 days. The way we acquired the store was a previous tenant of the was back on rent. His checks were bouncing. The situation was pretty bad, and they were evicted. And after that, they did was they damaged the property. So like we had to fix a lot of it to bring it up to code for sides. So we have the package store itself. We also have a grocery store next door. So I'd like to show you some pictures if you guys have some times. You can go ahead and next. So this is the entrance on walk in to the liquor store. This is what it was, and then this is what it like. If you click next, that says now. A lot of money. One of the things we had to gut the whole place, and then have everything be redone. Ventilations, electric systems, roof, power, everything. You can this is the counter. I'm sorry, this is the counter, and then next. This is behind the counter on what it was, and now this is what it is now afterwards. Keep going. So this used to be a hallway that would go all the way down. It didn't meet any of the ADA requirements. So we had to go in, gut it out, and then make it brand new. This is what it is now. This was the drive-through alley. It was pretty big mess. We had to clean that up too. That's what it is now. This was the hallway right next to the drive-through alley. This was also a mess. That's what it is now. This was the electric. This really put the building out. The electric panel was outdated, and what we had to do was we get permits and then get it replaced and get everything situated. This was an office. They damaged all of it. So what we did was we took out the whole office and turned it into a hallway. This were the new baths. I didn't take pictures of the old ones because I didn't have the courage to go in there. But these are the new ones. And then we also have a grocery store next door if you guys want to look at that too.
No.
Questions from the commission?
I have a question. So you are renting the building, but you had to go in all that work to bring it up to par.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was just on the package store.
That was only the package store, yes. I've renovated the next door as well.
Have you renovated?
Yep, fully. We can show you the presentation if you would like. For the grocery store, I have it.
Well, I mean, have you started the grocery store?
No, we have not. We're waiting. We're waiting on the first to open both of them up at the same time.
Waiting on what now?
We have a tobacco license for there. We're waiting on the Department of Agriculture, and then we're on the of 2025. We will be opening both of them.
So the Department of Agriculture has given you the license to go ahead and open up the store?
No, they're still scheduling me an inspection on that side.
And when are they going to your inspection?
On the 29th.
The 20th of this month?
No, 29th of this month.
29th of this month?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So question to you mainly, in these, this lights, how would that enhance that particular neighborhood community?
Yes, ma'am. So one of the things that we did was we went and asked what everybody wanted. Essentially, they said they want the liquor store back. They said they want the grocery store next door. They want produce. They want everything within that because the grocery store was shut down for the past 2 years. And one of the things that they have to do is they have to walk everywhere. They have to walk all the way down to Tropical or Lolo or the Dollar General down the road. And the people in the neighborhood are struggling because of that, and specifically asked us. So before we spent any money, one of the things was we went out and took surveys of what the neighborhood wants to see within that building.
Remember, round the corner is Southland, or the old name is Southland, okay? So for them to say they have to walk far is believable to me, but that's round the corner. And you do know 6 blocks away is the grog shop. You do know 5 or 6 blocks east is L Street Liquors. And you do know 4 to 5 blocks up the street is Lowe's Market, right?
Yes.
Am I correct? But again, my question is, besides you asking them, just saying the convenience of walking to a store, convenience of getting the wine, how will your store, package store, enhance that community?
Yes. Okay. So ever since we've been shut down, Grog Shop, Ellis Street, all what they've done is they've raised all of their profit margins by 15%. I know because I talked to a few of them. What having Fountain, having Ellis Street, and having it's a triangle that where you can't go up on prices, right? Because you have competition right over there side, right on that other side. So, but we've been shut down, so it's taken out the balanced competition, if that makes sense.
And I have one last
Yes, ma'am.
question, Lisa. That's sort of about competition. My last question is, and I'm sorry, I'm finished. I rest. Go ahead. My bad. Yeah.
Additional questions or comments?
Yes. Is there a reason why you just didn't do a supermarket instead of package store and the supermarket? Even though I know that the community wants the pack store.
Yeah, so the reason I didn't do it is because we can't serve liquor, and Fountain has been there historically for the past 70 years. And what we have to have is a wall that separates both of the buildings, and with different licenses for that. That's the reason we didn't just turn everything into one big. We had to keep those separated.
And you showed pictures of the interior, but what about the outside?
Yes,
Because-
ma'am. The renovations for the exteriors are still going on right now. So we're still painting the building. We're still getting new fence. The roof repairs were just. What else? We're still getting paint done for the driveways. We're hanging lights, the new lights. The building, the old lights were very bad. We're still getting the electric work done outside to add more visibility.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Patel, will y'all be doing Sunday sales?
Sunday sales? Yes, ma'am. But that's average, like in terms of whenever the time permits us to open. So like I know on weekdays we can start selling 9 to 11. Sundays to stay closed until 12, 1, and then we go on after that.
Okay, thank you.
Questions or comments?
My question is,
Commissioner, if you don't, can I interject
ahead.
for a moment? There is a discrepancy there in the application, in that the application was not for Sunday sales.
Okay.
So you would not be eligible to come back later and add that on.
Okay. So no Sunday sales.
okay, right. Thank you for that clarity. Will you be requesting an alcohol license for the store as well?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you don't plan to
No.
dip on this?
Absolutely.
Okay. We won't even go back to the profit margin stuff. That doesn't sound good, nor does it look good. So we won't even address that part. But one of my main concerns in dealing with any business that's coming into the city's property is the investment of that business owner in the community and the reinvestment of that business into the community. We have so many businesses that into our community, but they are not actually vested in the community. Thus, they're not reinvesting in the community. Investing and being invested and reinvesting in the community does not thus limit your location. Commissioners have asked questions that pertain to, I think we're kind of trying to lead into the area of the entire community investment.
Yes.
So we want to definitively hear, now you're going to make your store look good. Now you're just going to make that property immediately around your store look good. But the benefit of this business that's been there for years, but the investment was only limited to the corner. I want to know definitively how you all want to be the change on that corner to spur change in that community.
Yes, ma'am. So we even with us not open and not making any money or whatever. We have donated for the past 5 months, donated close to $7,000 into helping the neighborhood get better. In terms of like one of the things we did was we filled up my car with turkeys and everything for Thanksgiving, and we handed it out. We did that twice. Another thing it was start of the August was when I started. I signed the lease for that store. The
You can slow
cheerleaders.
down. You can
Okay.
slow down.
Yeah.
You don't have to be.
Okay. The cheerleaders came around and they were asking for new uniforms and everything. So I did money for that. I have a $3,000 that's going out for Christmas. Another $1,000 for New Year's. I also yeah. And she's saying yeah, we're still creating jobs for like with the like being open, we're gonna have like 46 jobs open for people in the community. So we do have a vested interest, man. I lived here, grew up here, Brunswick High, everything. So I do want to see my city prosper, and I want to change that, inspires us. And we did talk to a few businesses in and around the neighborhood, and they all said, "Oh man, because like you started doing all of this, right? Now I have to go and paint my building too." And then like they wrote me a letter of recommendation saying they want to see be back open and everything.
Thank you, Mayor Tem, for that question, and I appreciate you giving us some answers. I would say to piggyback off that, we're looking for businesses that want to be a list for change in that community, positive change, not in a negative way. So, I would encourage you to participate in a neighborhood Norwich Street business meeting on a monthly basis. I'd encourage you to participate in it. I'd like you to tell me a little bit more about the number of employees that you're going to have, up the hours for me, both on the market side, on the alcohol side, and tell me a little bit about the food and stuff that you're planning on carrying in the market.
Of course. So I have to have 4 full-time employees, part-time. Um, Liquor side will open from 9 until 11. Same thing with the grocery side. The grocery will open a little bit earlier, at 8 until 11. We're gonna do it in shift of twos with the help. So like, I'll have one person on the grocery side, another person on the liquor side, and then we'll keep the part-time to so like if he's needed on the other or if he's needed on that side, right? That's the plan. What was the second question? I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we do plan on having fresh produce. The things I'm looking into currently right now is meats and guys walk down to a convenience store. They also have like hot dogs and everything, hot dogs, something that like when you're walking and you're tired and you're thirsty, go in for a drink, or you can also get a hot dog, also shop for yourself and then go home. You know what I'm saying? Milk, yeah.
Sorry, we have any gaming at this establishment?
No.
No further questions, Mr. Mayor.
Do you own any other businesses?
Yes, ma'am. We do. We also own Shell gas station, uh Pete's on 341 right off the exit 3060.
Are you going to take or will take um, to ensure that our ordinance is upheld for us like underage to
Yeah.
underage sale?
Okay, so we already have, ID scanners that can tell you if the ID that they even to you is fake or real. We also have a bill system that every time you scan a bottle, that it asks for the date of birth before you can hit enter. There's no way to bypass that. So we need some identification before you go buy anything. I swear.
No training with.
Yeah. We'll be training people software because all the software that we ordered is brand. So we're gonna sit down with all the employees, train, right? Invest our time and effort into that. So we make sure that every law or ordinance is set with even when we were rebuilding. We were getting this place up to code. One of the first things I did was I sat down with Chris, and I asked him, okay, would it all the rules and ADA regulations that I have to comply with. And he gave me a list and I followed this right down to the T before I got a occupancy license and a business license.
But I'm talking about your employees, you have already gone through the training with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But well, one of the things I talked to my employees about was like, we won't until like our liquor license is.
So what are your expectations of your employees and when selling alcohol?
They have to check for IDs, every single one of them.
Say again, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I said they have to do for IDs every single time. That is my patience.
Okay.
Last questions.
Yes, ma'am.
When is the grand opening? You said it's about January. You want?
Yeah, I would like to do it on the 1st January 1st,
for
2025, for both
like
sides.
20 for both sides.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are you moving on the liquor store side before you move on the grocery store side?
Sorry. Oh, why? We have them. Both of them will be ready by that time. The timeline that was given to me by Department of Agriculture. I'm really hoping that's the time. The state said they would take 7 days after it approves the liquor license, or they don't. And I already talked to vendors. I have other place. Will we use the same vendors over there? So they were like, yeah, we everything done. And then you'll be ready by the 1st. But
And again, you to have no plans of come back before us to ask for beer, alcohol,
no, zero.
wine license for this grocery store.
Zero.
Okay.
Zero. I don't want to keep any of that mess on our side. One side.
So you were required to have liquor license before you could open up your grocery store?
No, ma'am.
Or you could not open up your grocery store before open a package store?
No. So I need the Department of Agriculture to go ahead and inspect the buildings. They have requirements as well in terms of having a 3-cup sink and everything. So they specifically walk the entire building. They check every corner, and then they give you a piece of paper. They sign their name, and they give you a number. The number allows me to order food and produce. But that appointment was to me for the 29th.
But that what now?
So, but that like inspection was given to me for the 29th.
Okay, 29th.
Yeah.
So really you do the 29th and open up your store anyway.
So on the 29th, I'm hoping it gets approved, right? And they have to go and order everything, like in terms of produce, because that store is empty. It was shut down for years.
Which would take longer. 29th, 7 days later, it takes for your food come in, so it'd be beyond.
Yeah, but because I already talked to the vendors, and I already had like all the products that I want to see in that store with all the equipment. So all they really need is just a number, and good to go.
Okay, all right.
Couple quick questions from me. Did you have a conversation with the NPA?
Yes, sir.
How
Yes,
did
sir.
that go?
Sorry.
That go?
Oh, they said they were okay. One of the things that they asked was they want to see owners come back to the meeting. I reached out. Well, I tried to go on the 12th. I don't know what happened, but I in the parking lot for like from 6:40. And then I reached out to Miss Fuller. I texted her asking that when the meeting was December, but I did go to my first one on the September, and they liked par.
And what NPA was that? Do you know?
Norwich, the Unity Church.
The Unity Church of the middle.
Yeah.
And how gauge whether they were for it or against it? Did they take up for something, or did they kind of your general?
After the meeting was over, the pastor came and said, we want to see more involvement, and we're happy you guys are here because we see renovations taking place and everything.
Okay. Um, uh, Talk to me about, uh, you don't necessarily have to go in depth to your profit model, but if you don't get a liquor license, is your store viable? Do you consider Brunswick still a place you are going to have a business and continue to grow in? Or do you see us as a space where without beer, wine, and liquor, this store isn't profitable, wouldn't be something you all would be doing?
So, yeah, so the place was sold to me as a liquor store. I didn't know the grocery store until later on. But I told him, I said, hey, if you have space, I will take it. I will opt both of it. You know what I mean? But this model that was sold to me was a liquor store, unfortunately. Um, but I intend to have both of them up and running.
Well, I guess the question that I'm trying to figure out for or figure out for us, is the business a viable business without beer, wine, liquor?
No.
Okay. And I want to circle back because I've had people come up here and tell us that coin operated machines aren't side of the property, and then go to the property and in a back room, and or there are 4 or 5 coin operated machines. You have no plans now or in the future to coin operated machines in this location?
No, I don't.
Okay. The next question I have is just, yeah, I'm straight shooter as I can be. Without telling me exactly what area of Brunswick or Glenn County or whatever you live, are you where you are located as your, are you in walking distance of a store? No. If this were to be approved, how many other stores would be in walking distance of this one?
Of this one?
Yeah. If yours opened and had a liquor license, how many other stores could a person presumably walk?
I don't know.
How many other liquor stores are with 1 mile radius of you all?
So, I'm sorry.
How many other liquor stores in a 1 mile radius?
None.
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 Okay.
0.
Yeah.
I want a point of clarity regarding the NPA meeting. I was at the NPA meeting, so I'm going to clear this up. And Mr. Dickerson did not fully give his report.
Okay.
I was meeting.
Uh-huh.
So when you see me up here looking kind of funny, answer you gave was not the correct answer.
Yeah.
I was at the meeting.
Yeah.
And so he said, I am happy to have more business in this area,
Okay.
but I am not for liquor store. So we want to make sure he is not misrepresented and that he is correctly represented.
Yeah.
Okay. Statements are correctly represented. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You.
In your statement, you said that there was kind of a triangulation of profit in the beer and wine sales space. How far are those from one another?
So I know Lock Shop is about 4 miles down the road. I know Ball Time.
Okay.
I think it's 3 miles. I don't know the exact number.
It's okay.
But I know it's like I think 8 blocks away, maybe 9. I don't know far because you have to make that turn and then go all the way to Bottle Time. I don't know.
And what would the other two that you're talking about kind of in that? You said 3 kind of business that are open. They have somehow seen their profits rise. So
yeah,
what are those?
so you have Grog Shop over here, over here, and then Bottle Times over here, right?
Okay.
Because this is closed, these two have realized this market and that market, and because this side is closed, they raised their prices.
And so we're talking about 3 liquor stores in a, let's say, 5 mile radius.
I don't know the exact number.
Not a problem. I am always worried and continue to be worried about two things. One, saturation of liquor, beer, and wine in inner core communities. The other thing that I often worry about is that the only profit model in Brunswick seems to be sold in that work is a profit model by which we are selling liquor, beer, and wine to our citizens. I don't believe that is the only probable model that works inside of the Brunswick. And I am always pressing us who come to us to think of other profit models that could work. That's that's my belief on. With that, do we have any other questions or comments from the community? Hearing none, we will open for a public hearing.
Mr. Mayor.
Looking,
Oh, public hearing, I'm sorry.
please, if you we'll ask that if you plan on saying anything for the public hearing, if you could just come to the middle to the podium and just make a line. We'll go person by person. Good evening, Ms. Collins.
Good evening, all of you. You probably know.
Tilt it towards you. There we go.
I should know, right? Evening, everyone. Respectfully, I come before you again to let you know that a number of businesses within the city limits of Brunswick that serve beer and wine, as well as spirits, beer and wine, is astounding. We're a small city. There are almost 60 businesses within the city of Brunswick that serve. It's almost like you do the math, you can go a buck and you'll have a joint that's good. And at some point in time, I would hope that we, encourage business owners to do other businesses besides selling of beer, wine, lottery tickets, and alcohol. I'm not a prohibitionist at all, but I am an advocate for the city in which I live. And I know what I would like to see that we can do. And it's not to walk to a joint that sells beer and wine on the corner. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Al Cody, and I used to own Mr. which Jay and Sam, I sold it to them, and I watched me grow up in the store, helping his parents, whatever they need, whatever. They're fine, outstanding people, hardworking. I have no what this young man wants to do. He's very well educated, and he can do it, and work hard at it. So I appreciate y'all.
Hello, my name is Ann Ladson, and this is
Lena Taylor.
and we're members of the Unity and Community and Profit Organization. And we're here on behalf of the Patels and to know that they are top contributors to this nonprofit organization. And we've been around for about 4 years. They've been helping us with our activities such as, Christmas for adopted families. We also feed the elderly people twice a year. And we do that for Thanksgiving and Valentine's. And not only that, we also have the big Veterans Ball. We had every year annually. And they contribute to some of those things for us, and they're top contributors. So they help us, and we're just only like 8 people. So, being a small little nonprofit organization, just to let you know that those guys, they help us up.
My name is Bishop James Brooks, owner of Brooks and Associates, 501 Gloucester Street. May I approach? What you have in front of you is a petition from the community that we had gathered signatures of the folks in the community that wanted to see that the Fountain Package Store come back alive. A little history of the Fountain Package Store. I'm 71 years old. And the Fountain Package Store had been around in this community, which is, I consider being a pillar of the community, one of the prominent places in Brunswick to go. Not only do we have the signatures from the resident in the community, as you can look at your package, Central Hardware, Lighthouse Motors, and also Duckworth, they in part of the street corner. The Patels has close to $300,000 in that. Although the city had programmed, I want to see the North Street corner flourish. They haven't come to the one dime, $1, asking to help fertilize the remote building to make North Street a productive place. If you pass by, it's a beautiful building now. And outside is gonna be, looks better. I was told, and they hired me to come aboard, one of the things they will maintain is security. And I encourage to talk to the chief of police about how to do the police officers to make sure there's no vacancy, bothering, or no trouble around the area. So I ask you, the mayor and the commissioners, please approve the license for the Fountain Padua. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ron Demaris. This is my community. I stay around the corner from the pastor. I've been in my residence for 58 years. It started out as the fountain with a thing in the ground with beautiful colors and goldfishes and so forth. But I saw these young men doing work and I kept peeping. I kept looking because I have allergies, asthma and stuff. So one particular day I went in and examined the whole building. It is magnificent. I mean, it is beautiful and it's bright. It's just nice. They put in a lot of work building. And for Thanksgiving, they gave out, I don't know how, I think 30 something turkeys. They was taking the different people in the community. And it'll be jobs for people that need jobs that everybody don't have a vehicle to go to. They can even work to the minute market or the liquor store. I just feel like it'd be great for our community. You won't have to go 3 blocks this, 4 blocks this way, 6 blocks that way. You're just like A to Z right there. You can, because like I said, I remember it used to open and you can walk into the fountain. And then it became a drive-through. And the way they opened it up, I didn't know the building was that big. It had a lot of stuff just packed up back in the days. But I do agree of going in and doing what they're doing, such a great job. And it'll be convenient to a lot of people, not just the minute market as well. The Kaufland closed at 6 o'clock. And the minute market down the street, they close at 11. So I don't feel too comfortable going that way because there'd be people hanging all out all the time. But I feel comfortable going around here because like I said, that's my community. I grew up as a child and I'm still in resident for 58 years. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tanisha Jones. I'm a former employee, Fountain Package Store, like years ago, and I was asked to come back for the owners. I'm an enforcer, so ordering and hanging out around the stores and stuff like that, that's not gonna be happening. And then also with the with giving back into the community and stuff like that, I'm getting with Jamin and stuff like that. I'm also have my own LLCs and cook stuff. So we are going to be looking into like in the community on certain occasions, stuff like that, giving back like book bags, stuff like that. Those are ideas that I have in my head that I'm going to get with him with, and I know that he's going to be up to with doing that. And I'm just excited really about it opening because like she just said, those other stores closed, Southland closed early. Tropical closed early night, and walking out, people without transportation, walking those times of the night at the street, stuff like that isn't safe. So being convenient for them, like right there in that area, I think it would be a good cause. Thank you.
Please. come to the front.
Um, my name is Nick Shaw. I'm the landlord of the property. Just a little quick background about me. I got a place in 2003, owned it for years, lived right next door to the package. Had 3 kids born in Brunswick. I moved, by the way, to New Jersey. I don't live here. I was there for 18 years. I owned and operated the package store. Throughout the course of that process, to answer your question earlier about financing the property and doing stuff besides the store and the convenience store, which lots own. I have some stuff about if you guys want to see it or look at them, but I'm very prepared to tell you all more than the alcohol license itself, because that's why we're here, obviously. But to show you, like on document A that you're looking at, can we see that slide, the one that says so please feel ask, like I said, Ms. Felicia, and I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Ms. Williams have asked great questions, and I see what you're concerned. We were here for the previous meeting. I watched some and refresh my memory, and I see what you're concerned. So please feel free to
I'm
ask. I
trying
just
to-
don't want to be repetitive.
I'm trying to figure out the
Okay, no,
documents that you have here in
Yeah, so
relationship
start with A,
to
start
the
with A,
hearing
right?
of this alcohol license. I'm seeing
Yeah.
things that says
A.
possession of the lease for 2024, and I can remember
No, that's why I have them in order, alphabetically. So,
okay.
for example, like I said, I lived in Brunswick for 18 years. I removed, and throughout the courses, I owned 15 properties, land, lot, commercial, residential, and things. That's what I have invested in Brunswick for. Um, um, so the 2,300, if you can play that real quick. This is the 2,300 Norwich, not the package store, but if you go past apartments, about us, I forget, it'll be on years, okay? So about maybe 10, 12 ago, City of Brunswick had a program. If landlords had dilapidated properties or they're run down or just falling apart, City of Brunswick gave half of the money and I was the other half. And we had about, I don't know if we play that. That gives you an idea which lot. And okay, this is this morning, by the way.
Is that on their screen or our screen? Where it says your default speaker?
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
So to give you an idea of the whole community in the whole, so years ago when the city had that program, I had to take out half of the city did. So we dilapidated, the bulldozers about 5 houses. There were 4 houses because one of them was like empty. They were doing drugs and things. So it just got annoying because I lived my family right next to the liquor store. So being there for so many years, the city was great help. So that's one of the things I did because that's when I was there with the property. Since this year, January, I've been having trouble with my previous tenants. I finally evicted them in July this year for non-payment of rent. When I got the property back, that was A, by the way. I'm sorry, I'm going too fast. The A's you're looking at, those were the lots that were there on Norwich before, and that's what you see now, which is empty. Those were 4 or 5 houses. I forget exactly how many there were demolished and with the city. So that's document A. So earlier this year,
So have you replaced them with, because I'm kind of confused. We dealing with alcohol license?
well, you guys
and
were
you're talking,
asking about, excuse me, you guys were asking more about the community, how's it gonna help the neighbors? Why do we?
but the question is about the package store helping. You mentioned about So, because I could go on and say, these 4 houses that you demolished, have you replaced them with new houses?
No, I don't have that type of money, but
You
at
don't
the-
have that type of
At the
money.
time when this happened, the city was offering a program. They said if there were old houses, they were an eyesore, the city was willing to pay half if the owners came up with the other half the money. So at least the least I could at that time was to get rid of these
Okay,
houses
so I'm gonna
and
go,
make it
are
look
you the
nice.
landowner of the package store building?
Yes.
Okay, so my question, you was talking about improvements. Why in the world are you gonna rent to individuals and make them come out their pockets to improve inside a building that you already own? So I do not understand the correlation. I really don't, sir.
You guys were asking about why should.
Okay, continue.
No, I'm saying about the alcohol license, right? If there's a need for another one, am I
But
correct?
in relationship.
So I
to
was
the-
trying to explain to you guys. I was trying to explain to you, not just that package store building, but the whole block, how I own it and what I done in the past, to improve the, just the whole, not the whole neighborhood, at least the block, which is facing 23, which is facing Norwich, right across Bill Duckworth. So that was just one of the examples showing what I did when I had it and I owned it and operated. Now, this problem happened with the tennis year. I had no choice but to evict them. If you look at B1 and B1, B2, that's kind of gives you an idea about the timeline when I had to evict them. And you can see, can we see the second slide, please? That says grocery store.
So I'm looking at the B papers.
Yes, which one in
But
particular?
Before we do it, I want to say, just so we don't have a lot of back and forth, we probably got 3 more minutes.
Probably, that's why I was gonna
Public
shuffle
hearing.
through this real quick, because
No,
I'm trying to
no
address the
problem.
things you guys already asked, but,
Totally understand.
no, but I think like the tenant, the new tenant, the neighbors, the accurate answers for you guys, I may have them because I've owned the property for so long. That's all I'm trying to say. So so going back to that just shows you where I evicted them and I had to kick them out. If you look at it, this was the kind of, this is what I inherited. We play that? This is the grocery store, by the way. This has nothing to do with the liquor. This is what I inherited in July this year when they got evicted. This is not even the package store, but
So they had access to the grocery store?
yeah, I leased both of them to them, and they, I think, shut it down 2 years ago or something, and I couldn't do anything as long as they were paying. So I couldn't make any moves as a landlord. Okay, so, and then, obviously I take out a loan, all that, but you don't want to hear that because business costs money. We did that, and I had to also do it because I'm the landlord. I had to do the exterior of the property and so forth, okay? So going back to what Mr. Brooks was saying, when I purchased the property, I looked at the history. It's been there for over 76 years. If you look at C, it's one of the leases I was able to get from 1976, just to kind of give you an idea of that location. About us or this particular day about getting an alcohol license. So that's that. This is the following I give to new tenants, being there for so many times, having their ups and downs, good times, bad times, and there with my family, like I said, right there on Norwich, on those apartments. I told them to make sure there's no law happening there. Keep the property clean. If you need security, hire them. In the past, I've had Brunswick Police Departments on holidays, on weekends when we got busy, done that. So that's what I advised them, check IDs, things like that. Overall, my opinion about alcohol license, to be honest with you, because I've been here so many times on different things, not times, but few times. In the past, we formed 3 or 4 businesses came to the commissioners, not you guys previously, this was years ago. I think Mayor Corey, and asked or suggested that the city does limit alcohol licenses, right? Because obviously it'll benefit me because less liquor store makes money, but because anyone can come and apply for one, they can be granted, right? So we personally am against that. However, this is someone that I had to kick out, which are the tenants. Naturally, they have to come through this process to get the alcohol license. So in a sense, opening up a new location, if the tenants were fine, they were paying rent, they would be there. But since left, we just, made it nice, make sure it's workable and it's presentable. That's all. That's all we've done. So, and I completely understand your a thought on too many alcohol licenses and liquor stores being here. But when I was personally here on 2506 Norwich, the building I owned, we had Annie Lentz Group, and they were a national narcotic prevention center to help people with drug addictions, any type of addiction. So you can imagine sometimes I go to my office, which is next to them. I have a package store on 2300 block. One of my office, there's a big meeting going there, and I lease the place to them for like $200 a month. Because in my head, but way back in my head, it's kind of critical. I'm like, it's a nonprofit, but they did a great job. They have multiple groups, 2-3 a week. So that was my little way giving back to the community, if that makes sense. It was October, right next to Tropical. And I did that for years, $200. So I personally understand what you, it makes sense, right? You just don't want too many of these things around. But like I said, in my case, the tenants got evicted, left a big mess with the property, personal damage and all that. And we obviously remodeled, made it better, and they're gonna open up the grocery store. And it helps, a lot don't have vehicles. A lot of people come with
Mr. Patel.
wheelchairs and buy stuff.
All
So
right.
that's it. I think I'm done because you
Yeah.
guys already asked so many
We
questions.
appreciate you so much. With
But
is
please
the-
ask.
Thank you. Any other people for public comment?
I'm surprised you all don't have questions for me because I kind of know everything. I mean, but
Oh,
but
no.
because I've invested all this money and continue being in Brunswick.
Actually, I
property
think
investor.
what I try and do is I don't like back and forth between public
Yeah, 'cause you guys
hearing
covered
and then so the questions would be for those who are applying directly for the applications. In this process, there is no guarantee from a city that alcohol license will be transferred automatically to a new tenant. Someone can
Of
lease
course.
property, but that lease structure doesn't encapsulate a liquor license. So while we understand, we appreciate the information that you've had, I don't want a lot of back and forth from the DIOS. I want to be able to
But I
take
was
in that
agreeing with you
information.
guys. Well, everything has come up to in the community, not just a certain type of business. And that's what I've done. I will continue doing that. I'm going to be investing in Brunswick. It's a good place to invest property wise. And this just happens to be a liquor store. That's why we're here, because we have to go through this process. So
Appreciate
as
it.
a landlord, I think I've done my fair share for the community, like leasing this out,
Yes, sir.
demolishing those things, just to make it make better. We didn't build because I didn't
Mr.
have the
Patel, I
money to
want
build
to
it.
stop you. We got to
Okay,
move on.
thank
We
you.
appreciate you. Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, we will now close. We will now close public hearing and we will open it for motion.
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yes.
ask an additional follow-up
Yeah.
question to the admin and staff?
Yes.
Come on up. One thing I want to say is thank you to the public for coming out and expressing your opinions and your feelings. Times up here, we have to set and make decisions in our little box. And so I appreciate, number one, everybody showing up. As I was listening to comments, and obviously we all have concerns, as you can hear, about the amount of alcohol that's in our city, and that I want to ask the applicant if you would consider, again, potentially maybe adjusting your business model a little bit and doing things. Number one, eliminating the drive-through, and number two, potentially selling alcohol starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. Potentially think about moving that to 11 o'clock. It's something that you would all
Yeah,
consider.
we're amendable to those changes.
Okay. So? Yeah, or whatever. But that's some of the rest of the commission.
Yeah, I
Whoever
think-
wants to make a motion, but again, I think there's potentially some there for some negotiation and some thought process. Thank you. Sir.
With any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we will open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to move to deny the application for the Fountain Package Store at 23 Norwood Street.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
That's two. Aye. That's three. We're going to do a voice vote. Happy to do that. All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing that, the motion passes and it is denied 3-2. With that, we will move on to number 6, which is consider approval of December 4th, 24 regular scheduled meeting minutes. Do we have any addendums or subtractions? Hearing none, we'll open for a motion.
Motion to approve the December 4th regular meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Hearing the first and the second, those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. We will now move on to number 7, consider approval of 8 alcohol licenses renewal. Director Hunter.
Thank you, Mayor. There are 8 licenses for renewal. For tonight's purposes, we will need to do these individually. The first one on the list is 708 at 1008 Bay Street. That is a regular renewal. It came in not in time to be on the last agenda earlier this month, so we are asking for an approval of that renewal. They met all the requirements for the renewal. It's not in time to be in our agenda packet.
So no violation.
No violations. They met all the requirements.
Wonderful. Hearing that, any questions or comments, Director?
How long have they been operating under the owner or store been operating?
Off the top of my head, I'm sorry, I don't. Yep.
On Bay Street? For a long time, same. I know where it is, Bay Street.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve the list for solar number 8.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second? Hearing the first and the second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes.
As is noted in your pit, from October 24th to the 26th, Brunswick Police Department conducted operations check compliance for underage sales licensed alcohol establishments. The remaining 7 on your list are establishments that had violations during that operation by BPD. So it's required under our ordinance. We're taking those up individually and provide an opportunity for you to talk with the applicants. As also in your packet, it outlines as part of our ordinances that were adopted a couple of years ago, there was a penalty section that was added for offenses. So that is of your consideration as part of this as well. The first one, on the list it would be Friendly Express at 401 Gloucester Street. We have a representative from here tonight.
Good evening. If you just state your name, who you work for.
My name is Gabe Manning. I'm the Director of Operations for Friendly Express. Our corporate office is based out of Waycross, Georgia.
Wonderful. Waycross, Georgia.
Waycross, yes, ma'am.
If you could tell us a little bit about what happened and the remedies that you've put in place thus far.
So, obviously, I was actually an assistant manager, got busted on this alcohol sting, which we take very seriously, and she was immediately terminated. Anybody that sells underage, whether it's a sting or not, is automatically terminated. But this is what we do in order to prevent things like this, and we hope it doesn't, and we feel like we do everything possible that it doesn't happen. But we hire companies called through the program that do monthly stings at every one of our stores. Obviously do unannounced stings at every 37 of our locations. We have online classes that any new hire is required to taste for alcohol and tobacco. If we have a site that fails one of the bars, whether it's tobacco or alcohol, everyone in that store immediately has to take the course over again. If everyone at a store has to take these annually, so it's just not you're hired and you're done taking it. You have to take it annually just to make sure it refreshed in everyone's mind. Obviously, this is something we take very seriously, and we do everything in our power to keep it from happening.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Any additional training that you all did at the facility?
Yes, since there was a fail there, with every one of our employees, take the online training, and we also have a training program, and it happens to be at this site, part of the building. If you know, the spot is one of our training stores. So our trainer is there twice a week. So we sure to go over it with them very clearly.
Perfect. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. Make a motion that we approve the retail beer and wine license at 2401 Gloucester Street for again retail beer and wine sales with this license being a probationary period for a period of 6 months and also being assessed the denoted in our ordinance $500 fine.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second. All those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor and Commission, the next license for review is Snappy Food Mart. Darban Patel is owner, 29 Glen Avenue. We have a representative.
Good evening, Ms. Patel.
Good evening.
Yeah, you can pull it down.
They might be helping me out if I don't understand something.
Okay.
Could just tell us a little bit about what happened and then what you all did to where it doesn't happen again.
My employee, when I was home, he by mistake didn't check the license and he didn't make sure the birth date age, and he sell beer for the girl underage.
And then what did you all do to make sure that doesn't happen again? So
Make
did
sure
you?
we for the checking the license and everything, make sure the 1 year old enough, and
Mhm.
I will give him under training too.
You said you did training?
I will personally team
Okay.
to check everything.
Okay. And did you train him before?
Yes, I did.
You did.
But unfortunately, she did something.
Okay. And did you all or do you all have scanners or anything
Yes,
at
we
your?
have a scanner. We have what? ID. Yeah, ID scan. We also have like calendar something.
Yes, ma'am.
But he by mistake forgot to.
Say one more time.
He just didn't put it in like he was supposed to, and
Uh-huh.
did warn him, like what he needs to do next time.
Okay.
She also told him that this should not happen again, because we already have the system, so you just have to use it right.
Okay. So you have ID scanners at your counters and checks your birthday and everything like that.
Let you go past that screen blocks.
Okay.
Supposed to.
Okay. And so did you guys figure out why it bypassed the screen, or did you guys?
Yeah, enter, like he should not have entered it the way he's supposed to. He should have followed the process, and he kind of went around the process. That's what happened. He should have followed the process, asked for it, sure, and this wouldn't happen.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but he missed it.
And you all have had conversations with him, trained him, and then also heard that he now knows every person that comes in, you need to see their ID before you sell. And gave him a warning. All right. I know that has to be a serious thing. All right. Any other questions or comment of the commission? Hearing none, we'll open it for a motion.
I move that we approve the beer and wine license for Snappy Food Mart, owner Darban Patel, 2905 Glen Avenue. Also, along with that, the same thing, the 6-month probation and the $500 fine.
Hearing that as a first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second. All those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, passes. Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Next license for renewal is JP's. Glen Avenue with, Mr. McNair, the owner.
Good evening.
Hey, I'm Chad McNair. I own JP's Wine and Spirits on Highway 17. As to what happened, the sting happened around 7:30 in the evening. We close at 8 o'clock. Typically, when we see someone underage or even remotely underage, our cashiers are right there at the door. So they stop them, they look at them, and they actually make them have an ID. If they don't even have an ID, they have to, we have it printed on the door, what kind of IDs, the 4 kind of IDs you need to have. And apparently this person came in, the woman who was taking the order just didn't ID him. And I was visited by the police the next day and called her and found out what happened. And she said, basically, she thought just didn't ID him. So instead of firing her or letting her have 9 employees, all of which are local people, all of which work very hard and are very diligent about IDing absolutely everybody who looks remotely underage. And so instead of punishing her, just as a learning experience, we got a meeting together where we all went over exactly what the IDs that are available that you can have, that they need to ID everybody. And we did that with even people who don't work the cashier, because we probably have about 4 cashiers of the 9 employees I have. So we went over that with everybody. So everybody knows if they see somebody come in the door and the cashier's working on the cashier stand, that they need to address them directly. And so that's our general policy. We went over it again and made sure everybody is very diligent about doing that. You know, the woman involved, she's 75 years old. This is probably one of the few chances of employment has. So I tried to support her. I actually paid her fine when she went to court. So, you know, that she understood that she's being supported by us, that while she did mess up here, that we're going to support her and make sure we all move forward together as a group and take this responsibility on together.
Thank you for that. Thank you for letting us know what you did to mitigate afterwards. Same question. Do you all have the ID scanner?
So we have scanners, and I checked with the company that I work with, my point of sale system, and the scanners that I have, which they provided, does not work with their software. So I'm getting upgrading, but I also, the scanners are a great fail-safe, but I also trust my employees because, like I said, they're very diligent. The system we have does have the date on there for that. We used to sell tobacco. We don't sell tobacco anymore. It has both dates on there so that they can check that right up against there.
Perfect. Any additional questions?
I would just say I would encourage you to think about potentially tweaking policy where it's not just if they look underage, it's just straight across the board. You check them every time. Thank you for your due diligence.
That is something that I've actually thought about, that anybody who's not a regular like that, you have to show us an ID.
Thank you.
So that is probably something we will institute. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion. I move that we approve JP Wines and Spirits renewal with the assessment of the 500 fine, 6 months probation.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing the second, all those in favor show by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next license for renewal is Bottle Tires. Shelley Dallow, owner, 19 First Street.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Hello.
Hey, Jennifer Giuliano for Bottle Time. This is Hamal. This is the clerk that sold on that day. He did not check ID. He knows he made a mistake. We have discussed it. We went to court last week and he was paid the fine and everything was assessed there. Then they have implemented a new policy at their business to where instead of just 2 people working, they have 3 now. They're required to have 2 people working the counter and at least 1 on the floor. we have reviewed the video and he was somewhat distracted talking to his coworker, so they feel like having the additional employee would eliminate some of that. In addition, Hamal here has went to 2 separate trainings on the Department of Revenue's website. It is through 360 training, and all employees went through at least one. Hamal here has went through 2. And that is what they have done to try to mitigate the mistake that he made.
Thank you for that. Additional scanners or anything added, or did you already have ID
They have
scanners?
Yes, sir, they do have, they had gotten those,
New system.
new system, yes, sir, so they,
Distributor work and then, so we can distribute the work.
Sir.
And then with the new system, that one doesn't have, the scanner on it. So we're gonna talk to the company and see if they, provide a scanner for that. So even the new machine will include that. So we got machines instead of just
getting a new register, because it was,
Register.
yes.
Okay.
It was, sorry.
No, at the time of sale, were the scanners in place? You,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, you just didn't,
He just did not ask for the.
okay.
So the new machine that we got, but we're gonna, implement a new scanner for that one as well. So there is no problem that occurs, and also includes signage, behind the counter for the employees to check the ID as well.
Okay. What about, Bartertown has a drive-through.
Yes.
So what's the process for your drive-through? Because I know you said now you have 2
So
at the,
one machine, we use one register just for both like walk-in and drive-through, but now we implemented 2 machines, so, 2 registers. So one for the drive-through and one for the walk-in.
Okay.
So then it will divide the workload off that, and
And-
no mistake would occur.
And through the drive-through, do they pass your ID? You're able to identify
Yes,
the
they-
person that's actually purchasing is the person driving, is that correct?
And then what happens if we figure out that the ID is not looking good? We just deny them because
Yes.
there are so many people coming with different IDs. So we just refuse them. Okay, we are not serving it.
but with the drive-through, now I guess where Commissioner Sabi was going at, you get the ID. How well are you looking at ID and looking at the person? Because it could be a person
Yes.
in the passenger side who said, this is my ID, I'm purchasing it over here. Are you all gonna accept or you require them to
So-
come in?
What happens sometimes? So when they come like that, so we didn't like, if we are underage, we are not serving it because the camera can't check that somebody inside. On that, we ask them to come inside so we can check who is buying it. Because sometimes somebody is buying for some underage, don't want to do that.
They say they've had that happen several times where somebody had given somebody else's ID and they were in the car or whatever, and they just do not make the sale or tell them they have to come
And
inside and then do it.
There are some people who roaming around. The children want them to come inside buy. We just tell them,
Yeah.
don't stand outside, don't buy anybody.
Yeah, so
Because we know
we
them.
don't accept the loitering that's around the area, because see someone, we go outside and tell them, please do not stand over here. Because the back cameras give us a really good view, so we usually just make sure, drive through around, make sure like no one's standing outside or, loitering around to get things. Because that usually happens with college students. We try to make sure we do all the, like comply with all the laws that are present.
I had one, you mentioned that you all paid a fine.
Yeah, he came to court last week, Hamal and I did.
What, I was just,
Uh,
I was just making sure of what,
And
like
what's the
what
criminal-
fine. Okay. All right.
Just the cost,
Yeah,
the
what was
fee
the fee?
amount?
I think it was
300.
That's, yes, I think it's 300.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Here and now, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion, we approve the retail package of beer, wine, and distilled spirits for Bottle Time Liquors at 1900 First Street, under a 6-month probationary period and assess a $500 fine.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second? Hearing the first and the second, all in favor, show by the usual sign of aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, it passes.
Thank you guys. Have a
Thank you
great
all.
day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The next license for renewal is Parker's Causeway, 25 FJ Tourist Causeway.
To Bubba's.
Bubbles?
Bubba's is first on.
Oh, sorry, skipped Bubba's. Sorry. We'll go with Bubba's next then.
Good evening. Today, can you just tell us about what happened and then remedies that you guys put in?
So basically, and I'm not making excuses, just what happened. At the time of the infraction, we were down a bartender, so Amanda was a little overwhelmed behind the bar. Somebody came up, and should not ask for an ID. It is our policy, not just at our restaurant in town, but at all of our other locations on St. Simon's, that no ID, no alcohol. After this incident, we have readdressed with all of our restaurants, and we are moving forward and have scheduled training with the TIPS program, which is a alcohol service in the restaurants, and we're doing that across all of our restaurants as required for anyone to serve alcohol or pour a drink. And I'm currently working with our POS company, point of sale. They have an app or the capability of scanning barcodes, so we're looking at integration with them or finding something outside third party.
Thank you for that breakdown. Appreciate the work that you did to mitigate the issue thus far. Any questions or comments from the commission?
Approximately when would you have that new system in place for the ID scanner or the integrations?
That is, excuse me, I'm working with the who sells the equipment. They currently don't have anything, so it's trying to find the third party. And at the same time, I am looking at a app to download so that each of the servers can download. The issue that we're running into is that a lot of fake IDs pass scanner apps that you can download. So that's, I don't want to do something that's not going to be effective. But like I said, our policy is no ID, no alcohol. And we're doing us moving forward to correct this.
Thank you.
I'll have one of those in about 3 weeks.
Congratulations.
Getting a taste of it. Any other questions or comments? I will open it for a motion.
I move that we approve the renewal for the on-premise consumption of beer and wine and distilled spirits at BG Brunswick. Bubba Garcia's owner, Alan Tullis.
Honor ranking, Alan's my business partner.
Well, Alan Tullis.
Yeah.
At 201 Gloucester Street. Also with the 6-month probation period and the $5 fine.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing the first and the second. All those in favor show by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Commissioner.
all.
Thank you.
And now we can go to Parker's Causeway, 25 FJ Tourist Causeway.
Wonderful. Good evening. Yes.
Thank
Bars program as well. It's a mystery shop program where you have people come in and mystery shop your store. What you've got, the first page with the color is where all the stores got shopped, and you get a green card if you check an ID. You get a red card if you check an ID. If you get a green card, we give you $10. So it's an incentive to do your job. If you get a red card, you get written. So the bars program, we've been doing this for a long time, and it's a very good tool. People like to be rewarded, so and we make a point to congratulate the people that get a green card, and we write up the people that get red cards. So we do the bars program. The second little kind of packet you have is
the training that we go through with an employee when they're hired that goes through our alcohol tobacco training for what they're supposed to be doing. What's underneath is where the employee that sold beer without checking an ID, it's where we make everybody sign it every month. Okay, so there's where she signed it in July, August, and September. So we not only train you on what to do, we make you sign a form every month saying that you've been and understand it and are going to abide by it. We too have scanners like a lot of folks do. They work well. Some legal IDs do not scan very well or don't scan at all. And at that point, if you check the ID, you can manually enter a birthday, which is not a real good thing. Because if you bring beer up, then they scan the beer purchase, it prompts them to scan the ID. They scan the ID and it doesn't work, and there's some, gray-haired guy standing there. Once you check his ID, you can manually enter a birthday, okay? So if you just decide not to check, you get a prompt, you decide not to scan the ID, you can put in a birthday. That's kind of not a good thing, but that's how people are able to make the transaction happen without actually scanning the ID, okay? So that's one thing we don't like. The violation was on the 23rd. She was separated or fired on the 24th. Once the supervisor came in and saw the ticket, the citation, she was let go that day. It says on there that if you fail a mystery shop, we can write you up or something like that. But if you fail like a city, if you fail a government agency stop, then you can be terminated that day, which this employee was terminated that day. I'm echoing a lot of folks that have been up here that said we obviously take this very seriously. And anyway, we do everything we can to make sure that I don't have to come before y'all.
We thank you for the work that you put in, also mitigating that was before us, and thank you for the work that you all continuously do to make sure you're not selling underage. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I have one quick question.
Sure.
I'm curious. What's the difference between the mystery shopper and the governmental agency? How can you tell? How can that person tell?
Well, the government doesn't hand out green cards and red cards, but it's not a voluntary program because we pay to have folks do it. We just take a harder stance if the government's writing us up. We used to say that if you fail a government stop, best thing that's going to happen to you is that you're going to get fined. That's the only good thing and that's not a good thing. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to lose your job.
Any additional comments? Here none, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Parks Causeway renewal, alcohol license renewal, the assessment of a fine of $500 and 6 months probation.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing the first and a second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll now move on to, I'm sorry, got more. One more, sorry.
One more. We have the Winn-Dixie at 1941 Glen Avenue.
Okay. Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
If you could just break down what happened, things that you've done to mitigate.
Yeah, so what happened, the employee that sold the alcohol, was a brand new employee. He had been employed for about a week, just finished his training, and it was actually his first day on the register. His first job. He was 16 years old. We take the alcohol and tobacco policy very seriously. So the following day after this happened, we let him go. After we let him go, we reinforced our policies across the whole front end. We printed out the policy, had everyone sign and recognize what the policy is. We also enforced that all cashiers are to scan eyes now, regardless of age, regardless of if they look like they're 40 or 50. We all scan. So those are the measures we put in place. And I've been at this 4 years, and we've never had this happen. We always take it very seriously, and we have thousands of people in the store on a daily basis, and we sell a lot of alcohol. So
Appreciate the stuff that you've done to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Questions or comments from the commission? Commissioner Rowe.
Is there something that could have been prompted maybe when he rang up the beer and wine for maybe like someone else to come bring it up? Because him 16, because I thought the minimum age was 18 in Georgia. I could be wrong.
So he's 16. You have to be 16 years old to run a cash register in the store. We keep people at 15, but they can't run a cash register. Once they go through the training and our policies, they can then get on a register themselves. I'm not sure if the company can instill something like that for younger employees that may be their first job. That's a good idea, and I can take that back. Unfortunately, I'm kind of the middleman here because I work for a company. I can't really make those kind of decisions. So
This was wondering.
So internally as a manager, or does the bigger store inform you all of the rules and regulations of the state of selling, who could sell alcohol
Yes, ma'am.
products? And I guess as well as who could sell tobacco products?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is just oversight by the young man, or oversight by this, the team leader that
Yes, ma'am. Well, what happened is he bypassed. You scan alcohol in the store, it automatically asks you to scan an ID after that, and you have no choice but to either scan the ID, input a date, or bypass it. And he bypassed it.
He bypassed it. Okay.
Any additional comments or questions? Here and now, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the retail sale of beer and wine license from Dixie store number 60 at 1941 Glen Avenue with a 6-month probationary period and assess a $500 fine.
Here in the first, do I hear a second? Here in the first and the second, all those in favor, show by aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, motion passes. Appreciate you. Thank you. And with that, we will now move on to number 8, consider approval of resolution number 2024-13, renewing pledge to practice and promote civility in the city of Brunswick. City Manager McDuffie, I'm sure who's presenting on this. City Manager, is this? It doesn't have a name beside it, but anybody can come promote civility.
But your mic.
Miss Naomi, can you use your mic? Can you turn your mic on?
Mayor and Commission, we became a member of the City of Civility in 2023, and this is renewal to continue to be a City of Civility.
Thank you for that breakdown. Any questions or comments for City Clerk Atkinson? Hearing none, we'll open it for motion.
I move that we, the city of Brunswick, continue to be a city of civility.
Second.
Hearing the first and a second, all those are show by the sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. We'll now move on to number 9. Approval for the closure of city offices on December 24th, 2024. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just to request that our day for Christmas Eve be extended to a full day for city employees to be off. All essential services will be maintained.
Thank you so much. And just want to take time to continuously tell our staff, thank you for the work that they do. It's amazing watching them get ready for Christmas, get the city ready for the raid, the tree lighting, putting the lights up throughout town. We're always continuously thankful for the work of everyone who makes this city go. With that, we will open it for a motion.
I move to consider approval for the closure of city offices on December the 24th, 2024.
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor, the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, motion passes. We will now move on to 10A. I'm not gonna lie, I cannot find the piece where that had it on it.
That's the
This is the
report.
finance report. Okay, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Consider for approval financial reports for period ending October 31st, 2024.
Good evening, Commission. All right, I want to give you the financial report for October 31st, 2024. Our general fund at the time monthly, we brought in about 1,657,683. Year to date, we're running about $10,871,700. Year to total for monthly to be 202,000 to give us a change of 4,665,000. Our cash balance as of 10/31, our general fund is $8,083,296. Sales tax for October 24, we brought in $753,565. Year to date, we're running about $2,608,983. Compared to last year, we were just down probably negative 1% compared to last year, and that's our sales tax. Now, as far as SPLOST 6, there was no change in SPLOST 6. Didn't have any changes from the last month or a month before. So that cash on still stayed the same at $182,724 and 34 cents. Now, for SPLOST 22, we only had expended only $4,211,935, with interest earned at about $200,937. And total receipts since that inception runs at about $1,743,084. Total cash on hand is $7,564,209, and that's our SPLOST 22. Okay. Now, as far as our Norwich funds, Norwich, we just really collected interest income for time. So our total since inception is $549,290. Roosevelt Harris Multipurpose Center, we're running a cash balance from October 31st of about $46,707. Now for our ARPA fund, we will have an ARPA report at this session from City Manager McDuffie, but total fund from as of 10/31 is $9,876,290, and totals as of 10/31. And we did, as far as meet our goal, as far as making the maximum, as far as being able to turn our ARPA funds for December 31st, and should give you a full report on that as far as what we made on for the last period, okay? And that's the ARPA. Now, for our sanitation fund, we had billing at about, year to date, we run 383,256 for a total revenue of 466,971. We probably year to date, we spent about 374,050 with operating income of about 42,121. Total available cash on hand is $310,431. Now for our stormwater utility fund, our fees we ran for that month was about 225,221. We spent about 355,219. Now, total ledger balance is, of course, of a negative 87,241, which will replace once we do a journal entry to correct that. But that's just our ledger balance at the end of the whenever money come in, wherever we spend. And that fund doesn't collect money anyway. We just take money in and pay it out. Now, for our Lawrence Center, For the current transactions for October, we spent about $14,483.92. Year to date for transactions is $69,233.29. And that's pretty much, we didn't have a lot of activity going on for that month, but just we paid a lot in salaries for the most part and electricity. Those are probably the ones that stand out. Other than that, that was pretty much what it. We went to our Lawrence Center. And other than that, I think we can, if you want to, if you have any questions, you can ask. If not, we can go to the opera report from Ms. McDuffie.
Questions or comments? Here, we'll move on to the ARPA report. Thank you, Director.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As you know, city received ARPA funds in 2021 from the federal government. And when that program started, they gave us an deadline for contracts and obligations to be made by December 1st, 2024. And we must fully expend all of our ARPA funds as of December 31st, 26. At this time, as you know, we report the ARPA funds every month, and we have expended $4,975,000 as reported for the month of October, leaving a total unexpended fund of $4.9 million. We have contracted and basically obligated all of the ARPA funds with the exception of $43,000, which we have for our storm drainage improvements, which went in our original allocation. It was stated those funds would be supporting our College Park drainage project, but the project has not yet been contracted. So for this reporting, I am asking that the ARPA funds be allocated for the Albany Street drainage project, which is contracted. The only difference is that when we approved the Albany Street funds, we did say that they were coming out of SPLOST 22. Instead of them coming out of SPLOST 22, I'm asked for those funds to be taken out of the ARPA funds that were allocated for storm drain. That means that the College Park funds will be paid out of SPLOST 22. The housing funds that we allocated went through revenue recovery. Those are taken care of as far as obligating for ARPA. The homeless prevention, there's $126,000 of unexpended fund. Those are contracted for homeless prevention. The coastal community funds, $110,000 unexpended, and those are contracted for community health. The transit support funds, $220,000. Those went through revenue recovery. The interest income is available funding that is not required to be expended. Those are just income dollars for the ARPA fund. And the only unallocated funds is $43,796, which based on your approval tonight will be revenue recovery funds basically available for allocation. That completes my report, and as stated, I'm requesting for the Albany Street drainage funds to be paid out of the ARPA. Thank you.
Just point of clarification from City Attorney. Are those two separate votes? One to approve the files from October 31st, and then a separate vote to amend the budget?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Questions or comments of Director Payne or City Manager McDuffie?
And everything is scheduled to be filed timely.
For ARPA, yes. Right now, we're just reporting on the year end. So their quarterly reporting for ARPA that's done, and this will just kind of complete that reporting cycle. Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the October financial reports as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed.
One proposal.
Hearing that 4-1, the motion does. We'll now move on to the motion, and I will ask City Manager, can you restate what the motion should be?
Yes, I will ask that the ARPA funds designated for the for drainage be designated for the Albany Street Drainage Fund, and any unallocated funds for revenue recovery in the ARPA fund.
Are you asking for them to reallocate it, or what you're asking? Did I miss something?
Asking for
What was your motion? I mean, what was your,
for the storm drainage funds to be paid for the Albany Street Drainage Fund, and for the $3,000 of revenue recovery that's left to be revenue recovery.
Say it again, madam, please.
yeah, because I guess trying to make sure on the terminology that we have this correct, because I thought it was,
Albany Street flood mitigation.
So basically,
There's-
approving the ARPA funds with noted allocations for Albany Street.
Right, for the Albany Street Drainage Fund. And there's $43,000 that kind of was left unallocated. I'm asking for that be designated as revenue recovery in the ARPA fund.
okay. Okay, I'm with you now, because I
Yes.
know it's something that has to be reallocated from the College Park pre-approval. and all that
Right.
stuff. Okay, I just want to make. Okay.
We're trying to.
Hearing,
I make a motion.
okay, we move that as a motion. I do want to ensure that, hold on, I want to ensure that the city clerk has the motion. And so
We might need it repeated.
we're going to repeat it slow this time.
Regina, say what you said.
Do it again?
Yes.
Very
Oh,
but-
okay.
Yeah, because we need to have the
Okay,
motion.
so for the ARP fund, please consider approval of storm drainage allocation to be designated for Albany Street Drainage Project, and for the $43,796 of unallocated fund for revenue recovery.
Mayor Pro Tem puts that forward as a motion. Hearing a first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those the same. Hearing none, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on. We will now move on to number 11, consider adoption of proposed ordinance 1084 blight tax ordinance.
Sake of efficiency, Mayor, is what you have before you is the ordinance that is the rewrite of chapter, which includes our new building, both residential and commercial regulations, our derelict property ordinance that includes the demolition process, our historic preservation portion, and the blight tax portion. It was advertised as directed by the commission at the last meeting, and we did not receive any public comments. So it has been placed in the newspaper and now before you and ripe for a vote for approval if you so desire.
Everybody has had some time to read over the documents that were sent over. I appreciate the missions work, starting this process, getting us to a place where we understood that we know we needed to do something, but also helping our staff get there with use edits and thought processes. So I want to say thank you to this commission for leading that way. Thank you, staff. It's a quite large undertaking and large document. So thank you guys for all of the work that you have put in. Questions or comments for City Attorney Corey with what is before us?
I just want to say thank you so much. I
Thank
know
you
this
for your
took a
calls.
lot. So blight was one of the things I ran on. So when does everything, I guess, once we approve it and get it going, like how fast does the ball start rolling?
It takes effect upon vote tonight and the signature of the mayor. I think what probably we need to do then is, as a staff, determine how to best practically apply as we look at as we look at blight, designating blighted properties. It falls in John's lap directly. He is the named staff member in the ordinance. But I do think he has somewhat of an idea of some of those properties that may be considered for this situation. So, yeah, one or two.
Wonderful.
I would also echo Commissioner Roll's thanks on this project. Would ask if the House decides to approve this, that we get some city staff to go to our local MPA meetings and present to them the changes, so that way they're aware of how this affects their neighborhood and how the reporting process works as well through the citizen standpoint.
Perfect. Any comments or questions?
Thank you, John. We've been at this a long time. So thank you. Appreciate staff and all of the hard work everybody's done.
I just have one thing, well, two things. First of all, thank you so much. But John, I just want you to highlight, especially those in the audience tonight, about this particular ordinance about the boarding up policy, please, to
Yes, Commissioner, Day, you asked me a little bit about something that may catch people by surprise we haven't really done before. And I pointed specifically to the mothballing section of this ordinance, where we now have a requirement, not only that vacant properties be registered with the city, but that those properties be properly secured, and a very detailed section on how a property should be secured. That applies to not only residential structures, but commercial structures as well. So that not only is for just designating the building, it's also for the protection of that own property, so that not that we don't see, hopefully, any instances of demolition by neglect where they're just left to their own devices, where we have fewer incidences of vagrancy, catching buildings on fire, and where we fewer instances of our police department and code enforcement having to go to unknown situations where buildings are left wide open. So that requirement is something that's very different than what we've done in the past.
And Director, I said residential and commercial, but my interpretation is also applies to industrial.
Really any structure.
I just wanted that out there.
Yeah.
Any property.
Right.
And I think it's important to note off of that is that we would used to have to go through the full nuisance amendment, code enforcement, filing lawsuit in municipal court, full process to get an order from the judge to secure properties. So rather than having to, and that sometimes takes a long time, conditions go down when we're not able to get in there. So it'll not require us to go through all of that just to secure, meaning making sure that with these things in place that won't take this prolonged period of time where we're getting more and more complaints. There's recently one on the old fast food restaurant that we could have done quickly. We had to go to court on it. So
With any other additional questions or comments, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I have to make a motion that we approve the proposed ordinance revision 1084.
First, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second. All those in favor show by a sign of aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. We'll now move on to number 12, approval of the administrative award agreement with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources Coastal Resources Division.
Yep. I think the commission should be very familiar with property that was recently acquired through the NOAA grant, the Linear Boulevard Property Acquisition. This agreement, so the way that grant was structured, it was a federal grant that worked in conjunction with the Department of Natural Resources, Georgia, our coastal resources division, and then the city was the end recipient through this action. So DNR served as somewhat of a conduit, but they all are a partner with us in helping to do the planning stewardship on the property, and generally being able to apply and receive this grant from the federal government. We've acquired this property. The city has acquired the property. The grant funds have been released by NOAA. They are with the Department of Natural Resources. This agreement is sort of the final step in having all of the funding made available to the city. We've already submitted for reimbursement of appraisal costs, legal fees. Jennifer Klein is here. She is from Georgia Art Coastal Resources Division. She was one of the staff members that was locally and incredibly helpful in getting this grant approved. So I think previously the entire grant amount at one point was 1.378, I believe is the correct number. This agreement, because there have been costs that have been invoiced for, this agreement covers 1294454.41. The vast majority of that is going to go towards the land acquisition costs for the Brunswick, which was 1.158 and some change $1 million. What this did is allow us to acquire the property. You guys are familiar with it, is the old Glen Iron and Steel property on 4th Street at the south of the Glen Middle Sports Complex. We acquired both parcels for the purposes of stormwater retention. This is overall bigger grant that Jennifer can speak much more eloquently about, but it is essentially put in to help mitigate flood in areas that need floodwaters in area desperately need it. Our project was primarily selected because that property had been rezoned as a PD text and was looking to do multifamily. Everybody, I think, what remembers it, Commissioner Savio was serving on the planning board at the time that it came through. So ideal property. It met all the qualifications to go through this grant. And so this is the final step in getting acquisition done. Garrow and John Hunter were also involved as far as city staff and help move this grant through, and then will later also be involved in the plant permitting, all of the necessary items to make this an area that is going to hopefully retain store water to prevent flooding in the surrounding areas. I say all of that because I'm asking for approval of this agreement. If you notice, there's some dates certain. We are already submitting invoices for reimbursement of costs, and so we can get this done, the better.
Any questions or comments for City Attorney?
All right. Thumbs up.
Hearing none, we'll open it for a motion.
I move that we consider approval of the administrative awardment with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, Coastal Resources Division.
Hearing a first, a second.
Second.
Hearing a first and a second. All those in favor show by aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Hearing none, the motion passes. We'll now move on to number 13, consider approval of memorandum of understanding for the College Park Drainage Project.
Okay, this is a MOU between the City of Brunswick, Glenn County, and the Brunswick, Georgia West Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. This is part number 2 in phase 1 of the College Park Drainage Project. These have slowly been closing. Majority of these were easily negotiated because we are acquiring small either tracts of land or permanent easements to construct what will only be the College Park Drainage Project. These are all small strips of land along Highway 17. There's in phase 1, 21 parcels that we had to negotiate with. This is the last one. It's parcel 2. It was a little bit larger of an area, but also it was the Jehovah's Witness property. They have a corporate, nonprofit corporate church structure. They had to run everything too. It took a little bit longer, and they asked to have a formal MOU executed. I've reviewed it. Glenn County has also reviewed it. They had some in there, but I believe everything is correctly identified in this MOU. The purchase price, which was the purchase price that was agreed upon when they threw and appraised everything's $14,400. The county, because they are getting the planning and design, has also approved this in the sense of agreeing to what the church asked for. It was just making sure that while they were actively worshiping, doing their activities on their property, that the construction activities would not interfere with those. So that MOU is before you. If approved tonight and then tomorrow night by the county, it will be the final step in all acquiring all the necessary parcels in phase 1 of the College Park Drainage Project.
Been at it a long time, so thank you to staff for continuing to ensure that we push through this phase 1. And want to give a big shout out to Magnolia Park and College Park MPA for staying on top of us, staying on top of the county, ensuring that this project gets done for our citizens. Any questions or comments for City Attorney Corey? If there are none, we'll open it for motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding for College Park Drainage Project.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. Attorney, executive session.
Yes, for the purposes of real estate and litigation.
We will open it for motion. Hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second for state and litigation.
Hearing the first and a second, all those in favor show by sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, we are adjourned for executive session. Thank you so much. We are from executive session. We will open it for a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we adjourn the executive session and return to our regular scheduled meeting.
First, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing the first and a second, all those in favor show by the usual sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, we are back in session. Do we have a motion coming from executive session?
Yes. I move that we authorize the mayor to execute quick claim deeds and release of lien. And
Second.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second? Hearing a second, all those in favor show by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passed. Anything else for the good of the order? Hearing
yes,
none- oh, I'm
I
sorry.
also move that we authorize the city manager to sign a waiver of right to redeem.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor show by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing motion passes. Anything for the good of order? Hearing nothing, we'll open it for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by aye.
Aye.
All those the same. Hearing none, we are adjourned. Merry Christmas.